Okay, so we can get started. And today's topic is about, we're going to start looking at the mandala offering, and today the short mandala offering, and a little bit about how to use our mala or rosary, and the different types of short mandala offerings there are. So we've been going through the real basics, the Dharma Toolkit. Last week we looked at offerings, the two main types of offerings that we would put on the altar, the water ball offerings, the tantric offerings, and then some of the benefits of just our daily offerings like flowers and incense, food, and the incredible amounts of merit that we can make just by making a small offering, just even one flower to the Buddha, to the Guru Buddha, and how much incredible benefit that has, long-term benefit. And we also had, it was very exciting, Venerable Robina crashed the class, kept me on my toes, and so hopefully everyone got it, kind of a relaxed experience about how really the Buddhist teachings is also based on investigation and research and debate and questioning, and that it is great to be able to, I hope, respectfully debate with our teachers to really hone our understanding. We have to have the confidence to ask questions. And in the West, we're not really taught how to ask questions while still being respectful and feeling confident about it. So hopefully you'll have lots of questions at the end of today's class as well. So let's set our motivation. The two wings of the bird, as Venerable Robina often says. So on the one hand, we have the wisdom wing, which is our curiosity, our natural curiosity to have the confidence to be curious and ask a question and not think that things are taboo, and to have the motivation to develop our curiosity all the way to the perfection of wisdom. And on the other hand, we've got kindness, or the method wing, the wing of activity, compassionate activity for sentient beings, and using the power of activity, of karma, cause and effect, to be able to like supercharge our way to enlightenment for the benefit of all. So mandala offerings, I'm going to get the screen share up and start this time with a really lovely photograph of our dearest Lama Zopa Rinpoche, very earnest, making a short mandala offering. So if it's good enough for Rinpoche, it's good enough for us. And look where it's got Rinpoche, all those incredible offerings. So when we're thinking about the mandala offering, so here represented with how Rinpoche is holding his hands, what we're talking about is generosity. And the thing about generosity is it about the things, the stuff that we give, or is it about the intention? So, you know, many times when we think about being generous, we think about the substance of generosity, the things that we're going to give. We forget all about that. That's actually a minor part. The main part of generosity is the intention to give, is the wish to release your stuff and give it to others. So if you don't have stuff, if you don't have money, if you don't have anything to offer, it doesn't mean that you can't practice generosity, because the main thing about generosity is the intention. And so therefore, why just give a small amount? Why not go for the big one? Offer everything, offer the universes filled with offerings, if the main thing about it is our intention. Make it really, really huge. And of course, it's always good to have a basis of the offering, but to not think that that's the main thing, and especially to not be demoralized if we don't have enough money, or I can't practice generosity. That's not true, luckily for us. So here we are. Karmically, if we want to be rich, we get richer by giving things away. We can see this just in our own life in the short term, not even karmically, but when we are generous, it opens up those channels for people to feel calm and confident with us, and then to be generous back. But mostly karmically, if we want to have enough resources, we must create the cause, and the cause is generosity. So we do get richer by giving things away. The main thing about giving is not the thing itself, but to relinquish our attachment to it. So when we are giving things away, we can't give it with the thought, oh, I'm going to give you this so I'll get rich later on. It's just recognizing that karmic flow. There's a great Scottish saying, a shroud has no pockets, meaning we can't take any of our riches with us when we die. And in fact, the only things that we can take with us when we die are the things we've given away. So it's better to give everything away now multiple times, so that we get used to releasing our wealth and our resources, that we open up our heart. And then karmically, that's actually what we can take with us. That's what we take with us into the next life. So then as we get used to giving things away, it begins to become natural. One of the main reasons to practice generosity, colloquially, I think as Westerners, it's to increase our luck. So, I mean, there's no such thing as luck in Buddhism, but we still relate to that idea. Merit, luck, fortune. We need to have positive energy or fortune or luck to have success in anything in our study, in how much we study to get realizations, success in whatever we're doing in our life, family, all of those worldly things, and also the main one, liberation and enlightenment. So the thing is that if we're studying really, really hard and pushing ourselves and really buckling down, but nothing's happening, nothing's shifting in our heart, or we're not generating realizations, it's because we don't have enough merit or luck or fortune. So the answer isn't to push more. The answer isn't to study harder. I've got to study harder to get more realizations and squeeze your mind, as Lama Yeshe used to say. The answer is to create fortuitous conditions, to create that spaciousness and joyousness and richness in your heart. And that's done by practicing generosity. And the best generosity, you know, the mandala offering, because it's offering an entire perfect world. So the things to remember is, what's the benefit or the goal? The goal's got to be an altruistic one, minimum. Liberation or enlightenment. And who are we offering to? So that's also important, because many times I've done a mandala offering and just sent it out into space. And there's probably all these mandala offerings just floating around the universe like little orphans, you know, because who are we offering to? We're offering to the Guru deity. You've got to see the mandala offering go to somebody and be joyously received. The Guru deity. So the meaning of offering a short mandala with our fingers in that mudra is extracting the essence. The mandala offering, extracting the essence. And what we're doing is we're extracting the essence of this life. And this is why also we do a mandala offering at the beginning of teachings with the lamas, for instance, so that we can extract the essence of that teaching and extract the essence of our life. So the essence is the whole path to enlightenment, from guru devotion all the way through lower scope, middle scope, higher scope, to liberation and enlightenment for oneself and all sentient beings. That's the essence. That's what we can do with our human life. So why not go for it? So here's an image of the mandala offering mudra. Looking at it as if we're looking at someone else doing it. So you can do this, the short mandala. It's called the 7 heat mandala because it's got 7 components in it that we offer. You can do it as a mudra like this, or you can do it actually with the mandala set with the grains and the rings, which we'll do next week. And in this picture, and also with Rinpoche, you'll notice that the mala is wrapped around the fingers because it's really good to not have empty hands when you offer a mandala. Now, here's an image from our point of view, as if these were our hands. So this, even though it doesn't have the mala there, we can all have a go. So how you do it, you relax your hands because your hands are going to be at your heart, and your heart is where the bodhicitta is, so nice and relaxed. And then you put the backs of your, I'll just stop the share for a moment, put the backs of your fingers together, nice and relaxed. Then you cross over your little fingers, cross over we'll do it again, the big fingers, and hold them with the thumbs, and what's left in the middle are the ring fingers. So let's have a go. Put your fingers back to back at your heart. Then cross over your little fingers and hold them with your thumbs. Then cross over your long fingers and hold them with your pointers. And what's left in the middle, the ring fingers. And so what you have there is the whole universe in the palm of your hand. So the ring fingers, that's Mount Meru, the metaphorical center of the universe. These 4, the 4 main fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're the 4 human continents. The thumbs and the pointers holding them down, they're the 8 subcontinents. And when you have them with your mala draped around, that becomes the Vajra fence. So the Vajra fence is the protection of your practice. So how to actually do the Vajra fence is you get your mala, you put it around all your fingers, and then you just take out your pointers. So if you start off with your mala like that, then when you put your fingers back to back, cross them over, what you end up with is the mala goes around in between the continents and the subcontinents. It's the Vajra fence, the protection of your practice. So that's the mudra. And please remember, when we do the mandala offering and sing the tune, you've got the whole tune to get your fingers into the right position. So relax. Don't go, oh my God. You've got the entire tune to build it all up. Get our fingers in the right place, get the mala around there, and then remember what we're offering and who we're offering to and why. So the mandala offerings themselves, well, we've got the short mandala offering. Here's a little picture of the continents and then the subcontinents on either side, Mount Meru in the middle, sun and the moon on either side. So at first, when we imagine this mandala offering, it's imagined with our worldly eyes, so it's an impure offering, but then it transforms into a pure realm. This creates the merit for us to be reborn in a pure land. And we think all sentient beings are there taking teachings from the Buddhas, and that there's, rays of flowers raining down, the whole environment's really beautiful. Everyone's born from a lotus. Their bodies are made of light, so they don't have sickness or aging. The environment's exquisite. The ground is soft, so you never get sore feet. All the little babbling brooks and the birdies, they're all singing the Dharma. The air is sweetly perfumed. There's many dhakas and dakinis everywhere. It's just extraordinary. So we offer this with incredible devotion. So this is called the outer mandala, and there are several different tunes. So the tune for this one, we kind of think of it as the common or ordinary tune, but actually it's the special tune. So this is how it goes. O saji po, O saji po ki Joshim metom tran ravlinjim nidegam padim Sangejindu Meteoa Yidroi Kunanda Jinla Chopasho. Then the send off. Idam Gurana Mandala Kamni Atayami. So you've got to remember to do the send off. So when you do the send off, you tip the mandala towards you and you end up with your hands in the prostration mudra. So when Lama Zopa Rinpoche was teaching this tune, he said, as you're singing it, it's as if you're reaching up as high as you can. So you kind of extend the tune to really feel like every ounce of you is reaching up to extract the essence. So Saji Poki Choshi Meto Tranri Ravlinji Nidagampadi. So that's a really extend it. You feel every ounce of your being is reaching up. So that's the special tune. It's the outer mandala. Then there's the inner mandala, offering the objects of the three poisonous minds. So the objects of our ignorance or confusion, the object of our attachment, and the object of our aversion or hatred. So when we offer these objects, they can't harm the Buddhas, they can't harm the Guru deity, they harm us because we cling to them. So we've got to release them. So doing this mandala, this part of the inner mandala, releasing the objects of the three poisonous minds is incredible catalyst for us. So we release our toxic emotions, all of those things that we try and hide away, all of the negative side effects of our disturbing emotions. So like this toxic waste dump, you just offer it instead of hiding it and just putting on a good face to the Guru. You offer everything. You offer your rubbish and release it. You offer your objects of attachment, especially your children, your loved ones, your pets, your money, objects of attachment, and not just one, but many, many of them. So countless children, all your children, this life and all past lives and all future lives. All the money. If you've got a favorite car, that car, but thousands and thousands of them. All your pets, all the cats, all the dogs, everything that's objects of attachment, you release those. If you've got craving for particular foods, if you've got a hankering for cheesecake, thousands of beautiful cheesecakes floating through the sky with whipped cream and all sorts of things. So all those objects, you offer them. And you offer your enemies. So pick a politician, any politician, offer them. But when you offer them, you imagine them blissfully at the feet of the Buddhas taking teachings. Donald Trump sitting there at the feet of Amitabha Buddha, graciously, joyously receiving teachings. So the object of my attachment, anger, ignorance, friends, enemies, strangers, body and resources. So that's the next part of this inner offering. Without any sense of loss, I offer them. Please accept them well and bless me to be spontaneously freed from the three poisons. So that's releasing those objects of the poisonous minds. The other part of that prayer is the inner mandala, and that's when we transform our body. So this one where it said the body and resources. So we offer all of our possessions, our good-heartedness, our Dharma practice, and our body. And we transform our skin into the golden ground, our blood into the flowing, beautiful oceans of nectar. So we are connected to the oceans, aren't we? All of the water, all of the chemicals, the chemistry that makes up our body, that water is the same as what's in the ocean. You know, what our body is made of are atoms that are billions of years old that come from the stars. So we offer that, literally that physical kind of essence, the golden ground, the oceans of nectar. Our flesh and muscles become like flowers. Our stomach, the center of the universe, the core, Mount Meru. Hands and feet, the 4 continents. How extraordinary is that? The head, palace, and our eyes, the sun and the moon, blazing out. Our heart, the jewel, the bodhicitta jewel, and all of our inner organs, all the enjoyments and resources of a Buddha. How extraordinary is that? So those two, the offering the poisons, the objects of the poisonous minds, and then transforming our body into these infinite resources, that's called the inner mandala. So often we'll do those 2 verses, but then there's also the next 2, the secret and the suchness mandalas. So the secret mandala, if you've had a tantric initiation, then you meditate on emptiness. Your mind experiences great bliss. You spontaneously arise as the deity, and your Dharmakaya nature manifests as the mandala, the pure land around you. So it's like your direct perception of reality of the Dharmakaya is decorated with the pure lands. So it appears like a pure land, but the essence, the transcendental wisdom of non-dual bliss and emptiness. So that's what you offer. How it appears is oneself, the deity in the pure land. So that's really taking the future result, bringing it into the present. And it's a magnificent offering. Then the suchness mandala, the great Dharmakaya. So this is where we remember the 3 spheres of emptiness, that oneself, the deity, the action of making the offering, practicing generosity, and who we're offering to, the guru deity. All 3 are in one taste in emptiness. So what we're focusing on here is the empty nature, is the emptiness nature, pure from the beginning. Rinpoche says how to do this part of the offering is that it's like thinking that you're offering a mandala in a dream. So with these 4 types of mandala, the outer, the inner, the secret, and the suchness, you've got a really holistic practice. There's this great quote from Rinpoche where he says, "As I've offered my body, speech, and mind, and the objects of my 3 poisonous minds to the Guru, how can I ever use them again just for myself? From now on, I must use them only according to the Guru's wishes. What does the Guru wish? The Guru wishes that I become a Buddha to enlighten all sentient beings. For that to happen, I cannot use these objects to carry out the aims of my negative mind. That would be completely opposite to my Guru's wishes. I would be misusing my Guru's possessions." So, you know, when we do the mandala offering and when we transform our body, you know, the inner mandala and become the hands and feet of the Guru, even though sometimes I feel like a little bug, you know, pinned down going wee, 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 with my little legs sticking out on my back, can't get up, but I'm still offering the hands and feet to the Guru. So my hands and feet aren't mine. They're the Guru's. And what does the Guru want? Our own enlightenment and that of all sentient beings. So important. So they're the different layers of how profound a mandala offering can be in just one short verse. There's so much in there. So then how we actually do the practice, even if you don't do the practice at home, we're probably going to be doing the practice in puja. And if you come to Tara Puja, there's lots of mandala offerings there. So it's a fantastic puja to actually practice giving things away, because it's the 4 mandala Tara Puja. So you get 4 mandalas to offer. One of them is going to work. The rest can be practice goes. That's okay. And within that, what's so amazing is because it's contained within those prayers, you've got to focus your mind. You've got to bring everything, body, speech, and mind, to that time when you're saying the prayer and unify all 3 of them. And it really helps to focus our practice, not just with the mouth or with the body, but everything together. That's how we integrate it. So it's not that we're just reciting those prayers, but we're actually bringing them into our life. So when we're at a puja, so you can feel confident and comfortable being at a puja, there are 2 main people that run the puja. And together, when we're at a puja, it's like being at a concert where we are actually creating harmony. All of us together, the group is much stronger than the individual person. So just like an orchestra, they all get together and they do something together, and it literally creates harmony. And that harmony is beautiful. It's invigorating. We come out changed and better people. So a puja is like that. We get together and we create harmony for the world, for all sentient beings in all 6 realms. So who you have, 2 people running it. You have the concert master, who's called the Umze, and they're the chant leader. So they direct everybody. And just like an orchestra, we try and know what the tunes are and what the practice is, but the concert master puts it all together and leads. And then we have the ritual master, who's the Vajra master. And they represent the deity, the actual deity. So let's go. So the concert master leads and directs and knows all the different tunes. And there are four tunes for that mandala offering for different occasions. And the ritual master actually dissolves into emptiness and arises as the deity. So you think of them as the deity, and then they do all of the rituals on our behalf. So that's why everybody can go to a puja. It doesn't matter whether you've had an initiation or not, doesn't matter whether you're Buddhist or not, because the ritual master is there upholding all of that, then all the rest of us can come along. So they use the bell and the dorji and the inner offering. They do the mandala offering. If you can't, they do all the pouring of the tea at protector prayers. They bless the offerings so that then all of us can make the offerings. So in some pujas, those 2 jobs are melded together in one person. And in other pujas, there's 2. You have the Umze might be someone that has a good loud voice, but they may not have the initiation. So then you have the ritual master who does those things. So it's really important, when do we join in with the mandala tune? Because there are 4 different mandala tunes, the answer is always, when do you start singing? After the Umze. And there's a couple of ways how we know. So when a really good Umze will do that thing where they go, oh, saji porki. So they do this O or oo. If you're a guy, it comes out much better. It's much easier. It's kind of like that harmonic singing. So that's kind of the body, speech, and mind of all the Buddhas, the Om. And that's how it starts. And then you've got to leave about 3 syllables of the Umze singing before you join in, because How are you going to know which tune they're picking? So this is something that we get caught out many times because we just start off singing straight away, going, oh yeah, yeah, la la la, and the Umse might be doing some other tune altogether. So we've done the special tune. This is the requesting tune. And you might have heard this on special occasions at the first teaching, say when Geshe Sherab comes to teach. O Jetsun Lama Kutserab Tenshim Namka Trin Le Chun Gyapadang Lozan Tempem Dromim Sasongim Drowem Mon Seltatur Nagyoichi Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami. So usually so much slower than what I just did, but that's the special requesting tune. So that's usually done, you know, when we'll do the line mandala, and then you do those two short tunes, two short mandala offerings with that requesting tune. At the end of puja or at the end of a series of teachings, there might be the Thanksgiving tune, which is really lilting and beautiful. So the Thanksgiving tune. Boy saji poiki choshim etol tram rirab linji ni degam padi sangye jindu mite owayim Drakunanda Jinla Jopasho Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniyatayami. So how do you know what tune's coming? You sing after the Umse started. So sometimes you might have a Western Umse that doesn't do the oo beforehand, so then it's even more important to wait for the first three syllables and give them a chance to establish the tune. So how you can tell who the Umse is? It's, you know, at pujas. So there's this amazing photograph here. This is from, I think it's from Copan. So Lama Zopa Rinpoche here on the throne, His Holiness, of course. And then this would be the abbot of Copan. So he would be the Vajra master, the ritual master, and he'd have all of the things, and he'd do all of those rituals on our behalf. The Umse might be halfway down the line. They may or may not be in that, you know, same order of ordination. It's whether they actually are a good conductor. Here's a photograph of a puja where Lama Zopa Rinpoche was the Vajra master. So you can see he's got all of the ritual implements there on the desk. And so the Vajra master or the ritual master does all of those ritual practices in their own time. It doesn't have to be tightly synchronized to the puja. You know, if they're doing the mandala offering, they do it in their own time. And actually, when we lead pujas, we have the concert master who leads the prayers and directs all of the tunes. We have the ritual master who does the inner offering and the bell and the dorji. If they can't do the mandala offering, they outsource it to their seconder, their backup band behind them, who does the long mandala offering in their lap. So everything's covered, but it's done in a very nice, relaxed way. So I'll tell you a little story about the tunes. When I was leading a session of the Nyungnes up at Chenrezig Institute, and so I was quite new at leading tunes. And actually, if I hadn't have been just like dropped into it and asked by Venerable Alsa, I would never have been leading pujas or classes or singing in company or anything like that. Anyway, so it was quite early on, and it's before I even knew about all these different kind of tunes. And I knew that the tune started with the ooh part. So Venerable Alsa's got me to lead. And so I started doing the mandala offering. And I went, ooh. And I started off on the wrong note. And this like, could I find the tune anywhere? The tune was gone. So I just did a kind of like a Mr. Bean. And I just kind of grabbed this bit of tune and that bit of tune and sung whatever kind of came out of my mouth. And it's like, I'm getting to the end of the line. I'm going, it's not going to fit. The tune's not going to fit. I'm going to have to go to the next line and add in a few extra bits and pieces. And what was so gorgeous was, well, Venerable Alsa was there on the other side of the aisle looking at me like this, like with her eyebrows up. And everybody else just sung along. They actually, in that minuscule fraction of a second after I did each note, they mirrored those notes. So they all sung this tune. And I like got to the end of it, went, phew. And afterwards, Venerable Alsa went, that's a tune I haven't heard before, Miffi. And I'm like, no, I haven't heard it before either. And I don't think we'll ever hear it again. But everybody was so attentive that the whole class sang that tune. So that's the way to go. And then that's incredible support for the Umze. So that aside, they do say that the tunes, and especially those special tunes, they come from the Dakinis. They actually come from the Dakinis. So they're not just someone sat down and made up a ditty like they do for advertising jingles. The tunes themselves carry this kind of power and blessing with them. So if we can learn them, it will bless our mind. It'll pacify our mind. And there's quick ways to do it and there's short ways to do it. So the last version of the tune that you're probably familiar with is when you do the mandala offering at the end of teachings and you've run out of time. And so then the Umze goes, or the Lama says, okay, we better finish now. And then the Umze jumps in to offer the mandala. So we make the merit and they go, Saji Poki Choje Metotran, Rirabli Jini Degempati, Sange Jindumite Oai, Drokonamda Jinla Tropajo, Idam Gurana Mandala, Kamnia Tayami, and everyone's already standing up. But at least you got it done. So it's kind of good to know these different tunes and to know what's going on and why. All right. So then just a little bit about the malas then that we use, the rosary. I've got a little picture here. So this is just one I got off the internet. I think this is more of a Chinese style mala, but you can see the components in there. So you have what it's made out of, and that has a significance. So this one is made out of lotus seeds. So of course, because they've got the little black dots on the white, and so that represents, the lotus, the renunciation, definite emergence, what we're born from in the Pure Land. So there's beautiful meaning in that. If a mala is made out of bone, it's to help you remember impermanence and to really focus our mind. Remember death and impermanence. If it's made out of sandalwood, so sandalwood has this beautiful sweet smell, but apparently it's a lot like a rose bush. It's very thorny and gnarly and it's very difficult to harvest. So that represents pacifying our mind, very gnarly and hard to harvest. But yet when we do this beautiful, amazing, soft, durable, sweet smelling wood. So a lot of meaning in the sandalwood. If you're doing Nyungnes, Then you have a mala that's made out of quartz crystal, or something, you know, that looks like dewdrops, like that nectar. You can have a mala made out of plastic. My most treasured mala was one of the ones given out by His Holiness the Dalai Lama at teachings, and it's plastic. But, you know, we're in a modern age, so I think about the plasticity of the mind, neuroplasticity. We can change. So I'm sure that's like a new meaning that we can add in there. So on the mala, there's usually 108. So the 108 represents overcoming the 108 cognitive obscurations to omniscience. So that's a Mahayana thing, the cognitive obscurations to full Buddhahood, full awakening. And there's 108, so we overcome those. My mother also used to say, well, it's because you count 100 and you've got 8 for mistakes. You have the guru bead, and then the little one underneath it, the disciple bead. So very close to the guru all the time. You have dividers at 7, 21, 28, and possibly in the middle, halfway through. And those are larger beads and probably rougher, so that when you're going through, you can do it by feel. So you don't have to open your eyes or look at your mala. You can tell when you've done the certain amount of mantras. And then this last thing, the boom counter. So that's when, then you have these counters. So they're like little abacus. So I've got one here, these little abacus things. So there's a dorji on one and a bell on the other. And so this is like a Tibetan way of counting. So you do one mala, you put one of these rings up. So that's 100. You do another mala, 200. Da, 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 da. After you've got 900, then on this side, 1,000. So 1,000, 2,000, da, 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 da. Then when you've done all of these, then you've got 10,000. When you've got 10,000, you get the little boom bead and you put that on. This little boom bead here, you put that on 1 here. So that's 10,000. 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50, 60, 70, all the way around the mala, 100,000. So it's a really nice Tibetan way of counting your malas and mantras and rejoicing at how many you're doing. The other thing about having these marker beads, of course, is that if your mala does break, you just put in and you lose a bead here or there, fix it up as soon as you can, and you can always just put in more marker beads. There's a mantra to bless the mala, Om Rutsira Mani Pravataya Hum. So you hold the mala at your heart. You think that the deity is there at your heart, or if you have a deity practice, you manifest as the deity. You recite that mantra 7 times and then you blow. So the power of the mantra actually comes from your breath and is blowed onto the mantra, onto the mala. If you're doing this during Nyungne, for instance, you bless the mala, it's actually Chenrezig who blesses your mala because you've already self-generated as Chenrezig by that time. So your mala is blessed again and again by Chenrezig himself. It's good to have a mala that's very simple and plain, that the one that you kind of use out and about, and a retreat mala that you keep really secret, precious. So often the monks and nuns, their out and about mala will be very plain, not ostentatious, not worn as jewelry, very boring. Then their retreat mala could be quite elaborate, but we would never know because they hold it under their robes. So something like that you keep secret because of the power of it. And the more mantras you say, then it can become a powerful object. And so then, you know, the great lamas like Lama Zopa Rinpoche and Geshe Lama Konchog, just by touching someone with their mala, they could heal them. So don't just think that's just for other people. We too ourselves, when we do our meditation practice, when we do our retreats, we bless our mala, it too can become something that can heal. So then when we're using our mala, doing the mantra recitation, so this is generally, you know, we go through the day, it's best that we're just reciting mantras all the time. We're blessing the environment, blessing our speech, and we're not engaging in any negative minds. But when we're on retreat and we're counting our mantras, it's important to do the mantra recitation well. And so not too fast, not too slow, not too loud or too soft. No talking while reciting, no wandering mind, no adding words or losing words. So that means that we pace our mantras really nicely. And when we're counting mantras, it's important that we enunciate each syllable. So if we're counting Om Mani Padme Hum, we can't go we've got to actually move the mouth and say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, so that each syllable is enunciated. Then we can count it. So that's called verbal recitation. Usually if we have a mantra commitment, that's how we should be doing it. But if we're on retreat in a group and we're supposed to be saying those mantras and enunciating each syllable, we don't want to drive our neighbor crazy because we're reciting at one pace and they're reciting at another pace. So Geshe Tashi Sering said this really lovely thing. You say it just loud enough that your collar can hear, but your shoulder can't. So that way, then everybody in the room, they're not going to get distracted, but you're still fulfilling the verbal recitation. So the not too fast or slow, so that you're enunciating. Not too loud or soft, so you can actually hear it. It is a verbal recitation. You don't drive anybody else nuts. No talking while reciting. So if you're counting mantras, you can't be reading at the same time. No mind wandering off, just blank. Well, that's a pretty obvious one. No adding words or losing words. So sometimes we get into mental dullness where we're going on autopilot, but we're not aware what's going on. And we might lose a syllable in the mantra. Or we might be saying our mantras really late at night and falling asleep and kind of jerk ourselves awake and we're saying some other mantra. So all of these failings, you know, they kind of acknowledge that it's a fault and a downfall and to guard against them. And then when we're counting, so there's different ways to count. So there are the mala counters there that you can see kind of closer up. And generally, if we're counting our prostrations, we have a little wrist mala, like what's up there. You can see again the Bodhi seeds. Lotus seeds. But there's also the modern way of counting, especially with prostrations, a little thumb counter. They're fantastic, much easier to use. And then to finish, before we open up for questions, Chenrezig, Arya Chenrezig, using his mala. So here's an image of four-arm Chenrezig. This is actually from Andy Weber. He painted this painting after actually having a vision, which is why it really stands out, I think. You know, it kind of gets into my mind. So when Arya Chenrezig says his mantras, he holds this crystal rosary, like the beautiful dewdrops of bodhicitta. He holds it in his right hand, and as he tells his rosary, each bead that he moves across, he draws a sentient being out of suffering. So it's this beautiful teaching. What does great compassion do? It draws sentient beings out of suffering. It holds the jewel of bodhicitta and draws sentient beings out of suffering with compassion and wisdom. So when we recite Om Mani Padme Hum, one of the things that we can do, we can either think that we're drawing each sentient being out of suffering, or as well, each time that we draw a bead across, a little miniature Chenrezig made of light hops out of that bead and into our heart and blesses our mind. So the way to actually say the mantras when we have our mala, you generally hold it in your right hand. So that's nothing to do with left or right handedness. It's to do with what practice. And most practices are Father Tantra, so you hold it in your right hand. And you hold it at your heart. So not at your knee or not out here, but at your heart, because we're trying to bring all of our energy to the heart. And then you hold over this top finger, because the 4 fingers represent the 4 means of taming sentient beings or drawing sentient beings. So usually it's the top finger, peaceful means. And you draw each bead towards you. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. And you just keep going around and around and around. There are some practices where there might be a different way of doing it or a different amount of beads, but that's all included specifically in that practice. The general way is there at the heart. And if your hand gets tired, at least start off like this at the heart, doing it from the heart, of seeing those Chenrezigs or that deity Tara, whoever it is, like a continuous rainfall blessing your mind stream by hopping into your heart. And then after you've done a few at least like this and your arm gets tired, then you can put it on your knee. Then when you're going to finish, then finish back again at the right place. So then that way it's all very relaxed. So we can have questions now, quite a lot to take in, but let me just get the gallery view up and wave at me if you have a question. I'm really hoping there's some questions because we have time. So Francesca, go for it. I was relying on you.
I've always got questions. Now, I have a crystal mala and the beads just literally don't slide. So, you know, and making your own mala, is there any special way? Because this other mala I made myself, the beads are too far apart, you know, and it gets really hard. So if you've got a mala that's really tight, and one of the Bhutto monks had been to our place about 20 years ago, and he left one of his plastic malas behind accidentally or whatever, but those beads are very tight together. So is there any sort of slippage in it, or should there be movement or not?
There should be enough space that you can put your thumb and finger in between the beads. When you're making your own mala. Some of them are on a thicker cord and they have a bead, they have a knot at the end that you can adjust. They're very handy, those thicker cords, but that depends on the holes in the beads being quite large. And that is difficult to find the right size beads. So when you're stringing your mala, it's a really good idea to go to a bead shop or something and get that thread that is waxed, that's special kind of thread. Get fine thread and do three strands through, because then when it starts to wear out, one of the strands, its little ends will be sticking up, but the other 2 strands will still hold. So then you'll know it's time to rethread your mala before it just busts. If it's just one and it busts, like it did with me all over Roma Street Station, under the cars, under the train, you can't run and chase those beads. But of course, then I had to remember, oh, that's right, you know, I've offered these beads many, many times in my mandala, not my beads. They're Buddha's beads, they're all sentient beings beads. So off you go, fly, be free.
So with my crystal mala that is really tight, and it's incredibly painful to actually pull the across. So would I restring that?
Yep, restring it, but have a little look and see. It might be very, very fine hole. So then you have to get very fine thread. Sometimes you can get that thread that jewelers use that's quite flexible, very fine wire. That's quite good too. So you might experiment. And at a pinch, the last retreat that we did with Lama Zopa Rinpoche in Bendigo, and Venerable Robina was there, and she ran in to our caravan going, quick, Miffi, do you have any dental floss? Because her mala had busted, and what you can do at a pinch is thread it through with dental floss and it'll hold. So then for the rest of the retreat, she had this peppermint smelling mala. But it's a really good stopgap, that one. Okay, who else? Who else has a question for me? Yeah, Mary.
Miffi, thank you so much for this teaching. If I have a Dharma sister who passed away and I was gifted one of her malas, is it okay to use that, or what do you think about that?
Did she intend to give it to you? Did she like want to give it away, or was it just, did it just end up with you?
It just ended up with me.
So I think, you know, you say the mantra dependent arising over it to bless it and to release if that consciousness still has any attachment to it, to release that attachment for whoever she is now. And then, you know, if she was a good practitioner and you want to kind of get into the slipstream of that energy, then use it. And if you're not so sure, if you feel that it muddies the waters for some reason with you, I'm just talking off the top of my hat now, then give it to someone who will like it. But bless it with the mantra of dependent arising, you know, as an all-purpose way of like purifying and releasing any being who's attached to it.
Okay, and thank you. Susanna has a question next.
Yes. Yep, Sue. You got to unmute. Hang on.
Got it. Got
Yep.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to confirm, with the short mandala offering, we're doing all the inner secret and suchness all at once while we're doing it?
Generally there's in those notes the first two mandala tunes that I put up with the words. So the first one's the outer mandala, and the second one is the offering, the poison, you know, is the inner mandala.
Yeah.
And we combine all four. The secret and suchness don't have a separate tune. They're a way of first meditating on emptiness and generating as the deity, and then doing the outer and inner offering.
Okay, thank you.
So they can be done simultaneously, or they can be done kind of step by step. But in practice, step by step, first meditate on emptiness.
Okay.
Then generate as the deity in the Pure Land, and then make the offering.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, who else? Who else has a question? Yes, Jamie, please unmute and go for it. Yeah.
Hello, Miffi. Is there a time not to wear your mala, or can you wear it at all times? Like, I mean, I sort of wanted to wear it all the time, but can you wear it when you're sleeping? Can you like wear it in the shower? Yeah. Is it?
So generally, if you're going to wear your mala, it's better to wear it. You can wear it around your neck. If you wear it around your hand, then you've got to kind of be careful you don't smash it around somewhere or other. They do say don't take your mala into the toilet. So we have a little table outside our toilet block, because so there's somewhere that people can put their malas, but then there's a lot of malas that end up in lost and found. So maybe if you've got a pocket or a bag or something that you put the mala in, so that you're not in the toilet with the mala wrapped around your hand. But generally, the less ostentatious, the better. So if you do wear your mala, to wear it under your clothes, and even, you know, like in a Buddhist country, no one notices whether you've got a mala or not. But if you're on the bus here in Australia and you whip out your rosary and start saying mantras, everyone's going to get a bit leery. So that's why you have the little wrist ones, because they're much more discreet, and it just looks like you're just fiddling, and they look a lot like worry beads or all of the things, you know, the little Muslim rosary and the you know, the Greek ones that they do and whatever. So it's a lot more acceptable. So the thing is to be discreet. And then at home, you could keep your mala in a little bag on your altar, by your bedside, wear it. But if you wear it, it's because you want to use it.
So best not to sleep. Like, I mean, I just wear it around my neck all the time. So
That's okay.
I just basically never take it off. So it's all.
Yep, that's fine. Probably I'd take it off when you go into the shower though, just because you don't want it to rot.
Got you.
And I mean, in Queensland, in the tropics, you know, here in the jungle, it's just within months. If you've got the wrong thread, it just rots. So, you know, it's as much a practical thing as not. But what the mala is a tool to remind us to practice. So it's not necessarily a thing that we hold on to kind of with a superstitious mind. We have to make it powerful by using it. So if we have it with us all the time, then it'll remind us, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to be saying Om Mani Padme Hum.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Who else? Who else has a question? We've got a minute or two. Colleen, yep.
Hi, yes. I have a favorite mala I've had for 20 some odd years. And it has a couple broken beads on it. Is it still, I mean, they're kind of chipped and tarnished and old looking. Is it still an adequate offering?
I think it's fine to use. The only thing with a chipped bead, of course, is that it will wear through the cord much quicker. So again, this kind of thing, there's no such thing as a perfect mala. There's no inherently perfect mala. It's a process. Having a mala is a process. So it's kind of like with our life. We've got a few chipped things and we go, I must get to that one day. And it would be nice to get to it. You know, when you've got the resources, and then you can kind of rejuvenate your mala, maybe restring it just before you do a retreat or a special meditation or a puja. Then you do the retreat and it gets supercharged again. Sue, yes.
Miffi, I'm still confused about the short mandala offering that we do in the class before teachings with Eddie.
Yes.
Often he'll say, give up the grasping at yourself and everything like that, and the toxins, which is more the inner mandala, but we're only singing the short mandala tune.
That's right. We're just singing the short mandala prayer, which is this ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Mary, 4 continents, sun and the moon. Imagined as a Buddha land and offered, may all transmigratory beings enjoy this pure land. So that's the prayer, but you can include the rest in your mind.
Okay.
Yep. If there's time, usually you do the 2 prayers. You spell out the releasing the poisons one.
I'm just curious too, in the essential Buddhist prayers, like with the Mahayana precepts, it's got the short mandala offering first and then the inner mandala aftering.
Yeah,
seems to be
that's the way it goes. Yeah.
Okay, even though if you've done the secret and suchness and you transform yourself, but then you're still offering the toxins in the next one. Yeah.
So there's those 2 prayers. They're the mandala offering prayers. But
right.
What we're offering is happening in our mind, and they're those 4 levels of subtlety. So the most obvious one is generosity. We are giving the very best that we can think of. Yeah. And then we add a layer to it, which is the inner mandala of, on one hand, releasing our poisons, the objects of our attachment. So, you know, if you've been wanting to get a new phone, then you offer millions and billions of perfect phones.
Okay. Thank you, Miffi.
And then you transform your body. So that's all the inner one. And you've probably got time to just glance on that as you're going through just that one prayer. And you're also remembering emptiness and dependent arising from a tantric point of view.
Thank
but
you.
all of it can happen in just that one short prayer.
Okay.
In the precepts, we do the 2 prayers because it's nice to spell it out, because precepts is about purification, isn't it, and making merit. So we include that inner mandala prayer to really focus our mind. But if we can, we should be doing all 4 aspects, outer, inner, secret, and suchness, simultaneously.
Thank you.
So that's a really excellent question to end on. Let's dedicate. So I've gone over a little bit, but let's dedicate that by making mandala offerings, we can please our guru. We offer to our guru deity. Remembering the guru is a lot more than the person. The guru is the deity. We offer our mandala offerings, our study, our practice, our patience, our enjoyment of pujas, our outer, inner, secret and suchness offerings. And by doing this, may we gather all the richnesses and resources of a Buddha so we can perfectly help all sentient beings. So thank you so much. Next week, the big one, the long mandala offering. Woo! Like, this was just the little universe. Now we're going to offer the big, long, extended 12-inch dance mix universe. So that's next week. So I hope to see you then. Bye.
Thank you so much, Miffi. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miffi. Thank you.
Thank you, Miffi.